So now we're moving forward. Now we're hitting play. From this point on, guys, it's a rocket. Hold on, it's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be very educational. It'll reek of opportunity and quality, all these things, sustainability. As we walk through this FGX model, you have power, solar. Now we're going to talk about beauty, and I get to introduce our next speaker. We've been blessed to attract and hire great people in our corporate team. Would you agree? We have a great staff, don't we? Yeah. And I want you to know that it's a conscious effort for us to truly stand for each staff member. It's a very conscious effort. We single them out. This is you. This is your job description. Whereas most companies, oh, here's your job and here's you. We are completely the opposite. We really love and care for our people we work with. And, you know, look, we're all very imperfect and still very much moving forward, but this is a team that I think is lethal. This team is dynamic, and one of the greatest hires we've had in recent time is a person I'm going to introduce. I mean, she is credentialed out the wazoo, every little credential you need to be an expert in the area of nutrition, skin, health, wellness, spiritual wellness, all the things that come with it. This woman has taken the time to develop herself. And I've always said that your professional skills will never exceed your personal development. And I think it's important that we all remember that. Your professional skills will never go past your personal development. You could be smart and know all kinds of things, but if you're a human repellent, forget it. Seriously. So this woman, man, she's in full stereo. She's in surround sound. She's very, very special, and she has been the major instrument in the announcement that we're about to have. She's been the one behind the scenes, pulling the strings, making the connections, setting up the blind dates of people and see how they match, and without her, we wouldn't be making this announcement today. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause for Michelle LeSueur. Get him.
Is everybody as excited as I am to be here? This is such an amazing thing that we're going to share with you today. Now, when I woke up this morning, I had a feeling that there was a change in the wind. And so my question to all of you, oh, thank you. Which button? This is, okay. So I have a question for all of you. How many of you in this audience are ready for your businesses to explode? I'm telling you, this is going to do it. Now, I thought by starting, I would share a little bit about myself and why I'm so incredibly passionate about what I do. Now, I seriously come from the worst gene pool possible, and I'll explain. We need to take care of ourselves on the inside as well as the outside. And this is my family. My father was morbidly obese all his adult life. He had psoriasis that covered 75% of his body. He had 2 cancers and died of one at the young age of 57. My mom, who I just recently lost, she had more than 50 operations in her lifetime. She had Crohn's disease, and 30 plus years ago, she lost her intestines to Crohn's disease, and she had a bag. She spent the last few years of her life in a nursing home, and she was also morbidly obese. My brother, who's only 18 months older than myself, also has Crohn's disease. He lost his intestines to Crohn's disease 10 years ago, also has a bag, and he's had more than 20 operations. He's in pain every day of his life. He lives on pain medication. My sister, also morbidly obese, also has Crohn's, died at the young age of 47 due to complications of Crohn's disease. Now, if this is my genetics, why am I so different? What has made my life different from theirs? Well, first off, I met the love of my life 34 years ago, who was a fitness and health enthusiast, and I'm standing here today because of him. He is the one that started that passion and that search, and he taught me to take care of myself. Now, there's some things that I learned. Number one, what has made a difference? Well, of course, my nutrition and exercise. If you put garbage in, what else do you expect to feel like? Nothing but garbage. So your nutrition and what you eat is important. I live by an 80-20 rule. If you eat good 80% of the time, 20% of the time, you get to have bad things. But your nutrition is important. The next thing that I feel has been huge as far as my genetics, keeping certain switches in the off position and other genetics in the on position, has been my supplementation. Now, my supplementation has been huge in my life. Products like what you are going to experience this afternoon with the Forever Green products have made a huge difference. These products are remarkable. They are unique, they are innovative, and they are cutting edge. You want to consume them daily. I do. Now, when we're talking about the inside, what you put in your body does matter. Now, I did a lot of calls for a lot of leaders promoting this event and talking about what we were going to talk about. How many of you remember about me talking about a little bit of a surprise for you? Okay, well now I'm about to share it. So why do we age? Why does that happen? Well, what happens is we have these things as part of our DNA, your blueprints that tell your body what cells you're going to make, and they're called telomeres. As we age, they get shorter and shorter. And so as those get shorter, we not only do we age, but we're higher risk for disease. And when our pairs get below 3,000 base pairs, we have limited cells in our body. So these telomeres are very important. Now, they literally are your body clock. Again, tick-tock, tick-tock, making the difference in your aging. Now, with each cell division, every time your cells divide, you lose these precious telomeres. They're so important for a lot of different reasons. Now, over here you can see that when a cell runs out of the telomeres, basically it will commit suicide. But here's the bad news. We wish that would always happen, but a lot of times it goes into what's called a zombie-like or a sunset state, where it actually the cell goes rogue. That's where you see illness, that's where you see cancer and all these kinds of problems. So again, you don't want these things going on in your body. Now, the question is can we turn that clock back? Can we do it? Well, guess what, guys? I'm here to tell you that you can. Cycloastegenol is an ingredient that there are 41 peer-reviewed studies proving that this can actually lengthen your telomeres. Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, she was the scientist that discovered the telomerase enzyme that helps to lengthen your telomeres. In 1990, she won a Nobel Prize for this. It's an amazing ingredient. And again, it's been studied quite a bit. Now, it's expensive, super, super expensive. I cannot even tell you what it cost a kilo. It is expensive. Now, the problem is there was a company that came out about 7 years ago with a product. The problem is in order for this to work, you have to have at least 20 milligrams a day. Less than that, it's not going to work. And so in order for you to get that 20 milligrams a day, it costs you $840 a month using that product in order for you to get the maximum benefit. Now, you saw that there's a lot of things that they've shown to actually reduce or start moving you in the opposite direction. This study is probably one of the best ones. They've taken mice that were equivalent to an 80-year-old. They put them on cycloastegenol for 30 days. And at the end of that 30 days, they were equivalent to a young adult, okay? Their organs that normally when they're the 80, everything in their body had shrunk. Well, after that 30 days, it was restored to a youthful size. It made that much of a difference. Now, again, there's tons of studies that have been done showing the benefits of cycloastegenol. Now, what makes this different, our product different from anyone out there, is we use what's called an enteric-coated form. The other competitor, 80% of what you eat or goes into your body as far as supplements is lost in digestion. And if that is if you have perfect digestion. And me, as a practitioner, I have never met anyone with perfect digestion. In fact, I would tell you that's the #1 problem we have today is poor digestion. And so what happens when you deal with an enteric-coated is the coating doesn't open or break down until it gets into the small intestines. So your absorption and your bioavailability goes up dramatically. And so basically you're getting a lot more. So what happens is by using an enteric-coated form, we need to use 1/3 of the 20 milligrams. And so our product is equivalent to 21 milligrams a day of the competitor. Now, Ron's going to come out. We have something else to share with you about this product.
Big round of applause for Michelle Swerter. So now we want to bring up the guy, and all of this kind of happened serendipitously. There were so many moving parts, but each one being like unbelievably divine. You're like, this person's coming to our office, and we got the, I mean, kid you not, it was so beautiful. This is the guy behind the product right here. He's literally has a background, literally, as a rocket scientist. I remember when I met him, I didn't know this. So I said, so tell me about your background. I was being stupid and silly and doing all kinds of dumb things. And he goes, well, I come from a rocket scientist background.
Actually what happened was he said, what's your background? He said, rocket scientist. And Ron starts laughing and says, no, really, what are you doing? He says, yes. I'm a rocket scientist.
I thought he was totally kidding. But this is the guy, and pay attention to this interview because it's going to go really quick, but pay close attention because what we're marching to right here is something historic and special. So ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause to Mr. Rex Hodge. Thank you for being here. Thank you for flying out here.
It's great to be here.
I kind of talked a little bit about your background. Can you add a little bit to it, kind of your background and what you come from so they all know that?
I started off doing rocket design. I designed rocket engines. And then I evolved from that into doing the technology behind rocket engines, like the new materials and the new ways of cooling the engines and new technologies to make rocket engines lighter and that sort of thing. And then I got involved in something called fuel cells, which is a way of taking energy, fuels, and turning it directly into electricity instead of burning it. And so I did that at the rocket company for a while, and the rocket company didn't have a big interest in that, so I founded my own company.
Awesome.
And I was the CEO of that for 11 years.
Fantastic.
And we did technology development of all sorts then.
Fantastic. So now, the interview that Michelle and I had with you in the conference room, Michelle, come stand over here. You're okay. You don't have to stand back there. That we did with you in the conference room blew my mind. I mean, when I was done, I was like, oh my gosh, did he just say all that? And I'm going to try to reenact that conversation a little bit. Talk a little bit about what the telomere is, the way you talk about it.
Okay. Each and every one of us has trillions of cells inside of our body. And each and every one of those cells has DNA. And we've all seen the double helix strand of DNA that controls our cells. It's like the computer software that runs the cell. And basically, not every system is perfect. And the system that copies cells, that allows cells to divide and the DNA to be copied from one cell to another cell, it's imperfect. And it leaves off the last little bit of the DNA strand. And if it wasn't for telomeres, we would lose important information off that software program.
Interesting.
And so the end of the DNA has these telomeres, these lengths of telomeres, and every time the DNA is copied, because of this imperfect system, a little bit of the telomere is left off.
And what's the cause and effect of that physically or emotionally or mentally, whatever?
Well, the end result is that eventually we run out of telomeres. And as soon as that happens, cell division stops. Basically, you have 70 cell divisions per cell, and then you can't make any more cells, for that particular cell. Now, when we're an infant, there would be no second generation of humanity, much less us, if it wasn't for the fact that we had some way of resetting our telomere length. And the way we do that is an enzyme called telomerase. And
yes, say that again, telomerase?
Telomerase.
Thank you.
And the enzyme telomerase, what it does is it rebuilds on those telomeres. It puts them right back on. And we have that enzyme when we're in the womb, and we have that enzyme when we're infants, and even into childhood. But we start as we get older, and certainly by the time we're an adult, that enzyme is no longer produced in our cells.
Got it.
And that's when the aging process begins.
And that's when we see the deterioration of the organs, brain function, et cetera,
Yes.
et cetera, et cetera.
Throughout the entire body.
Awesome. Other organs? I'm teasing. Okay, this is our relationship.
Everything from here to here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for clarifying that. So this is all classified in a category which is called, is it epigenetics, right?
Epigenetics. Epigenetics is a wonderful new field that is opening up. We're starting to understand how the cell works and how DNA works. Not just what it is, but how it works. And the way it works is that